Good morning. Welcome to It's Around Town. I'm your host, Carol Fairfull, and I want to tell you about some things that are coming up in our community. My co-host, Trudy Terrell, is off today. Doesn't that sound like the nightly news? We have a small but vibrant community, and a lot of interesting people live here, and they have a lot of talents to share. First, I want you to meet one of my new friends who opened my mind and educated me about satellites. We will talk today about producing STEAM in our community. After you hear about Bob Welti's projects, I will tell you about some upcoming events in our community. Welcome to It's Around Town, Bob.
Pleasure to be here.
My friend Ron Ernst gave me your book, and it opened my mind to satellites. I now understand a little bit more about them, and I understand from you that you want to open doors in our community about education. I picked up his book last Saturday and was immediately fascinated and drawn in and engaged with the topic. Bob applied his satellite basics in a STEAM expo here in Nevada County last April. He is really committed to teaching important work skills as a practical approach to education. We have a lot to learn today about Bob's book and about integrated learning with STEAM. Bob, you have over 50 years of experience in aerospace engineering, and now you want to share this excitement and knowledge base with all ages and to stimulate everyone, especially kids, to want to learn these engaging topics. It's really exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
I'd be glad to. Yeah, my career spans over 50 years of developing, directing, and managing aerospace and software systems for satellite and telecommunication systems. My customers have been in the military, the government, and commercial companies. I earned my PhD in engineering from UCLA, and I have a minor in computers and management.
What inspired you to write your book, Bob?
Well, quite a few years ago, like in 2012, I gave a presentation to a retired men's group, Sons in Retirement. And it was about satellites and how do you take a satellite and move it from one low orbit to a high orbit. And it was a communication satellite. And it was so overwhelming, the response I got from that, and I got a lot of questions that people were interested to learn more and more about satellites. So I decided to write a book to answer all these questions with all that enthusiasm that I saw and everything.
So your talk generated a lot of enthusiasm, and you needed to do some follow-up.
Yes, and so with my book, I did the same thing that I did with my presentation. I used Einstein's principle of make things as simple as possible, but not too simple.
Mm-hmm. Now, your book title says Satellite Basics for Everyone. Why is it for everyone?
Okay, it's written for a very broad audience, and that would be for the grade school, high school, and college students, and also for people that are working in technical science areas, and for people that use satellite data, and any other, and family members that will influence the students, and for anybody else with a curious mind that wants to learn about things. It starts out as a learning tool, and then it progresses to the high school level. However, some grade schoolers will be able to comprehend the whole entire book. Now, when I was writing it, I had my granddaughter, who's 8 years old, read the text for me. And it was very interesting. She got to the page where I discuss and describe the Hubble Space Telescope. And she asked me, well, are they going to replace it? Because it says there that the expected lifetime of the Hubble is 14 years. And I told her that they were with a much bigger and better James Webb telescope in the future. And then she went on and in the book, and she asked, what is this capital M? And I said, well, capital M used with a dollar sign means millions of dollars. And then she said, I didn't know satellites cost that much. And then a little bit further, she came to the first equation, which was a square root, and she asked what that was. And then I told her what it was, that if you square a quantity and then you take the root of that, you'll get the same thing that you started with. So, for instance, if you take 2 times 2, you get 4. And then what is the square root of 4? It's 2. And my example that I give in the book is based on being able to make the transfer of that satellite from one orbit to the other just using the square root function. So all the students that are in high school and so forth that are taking algebra and they don't know why they're taking this math, and this is a real application of that, what you can do with just a simple basic part of algebra.
Well, I certainly agree with you that it's for everyone, because when I picked it up, I knew nothing about satellites, and I totally enjoyed learning about it. And my husband's career was in satellites, and we actually were able to have a nice conversation about it that evening. So my background is in healthcare, very far-fetched from satellites, and so you have given me a booster on the satellite education. Did you answer already what can we learn from the book, or did you want to?
No, I have something there.
Oh, please go ahead.
Okay, you can learn about satellites affect us every day, how they work, and how we place them and keep them in orbit.
Tell me what's unique about your book.
Okay, it's a lay people's guide to satellites. It uses a conversational style for a very complex technical subject. It includes real-life mission planning example for placing a satellite in orbit and supporting it to perform its on-orbit mission. And that mission is taking a satellite that's in a low Earth orbit at 200 miles above the Earth at the equator. It's in an orbit that is circular around the equator. And to be able to transfer it out into a geostationary orbit, which is out about 22,000 miles above the Earth. And when it's in its low Earth orbit, it is it has an orbital period that's once around in its orbit of about 90 minutes, and it's going 17,000 miles per hour. And then we're going to put that into a transfer orbit and put it out into the geostationary orbit, and have the velocity in the stationary orbit would be 8,600 miles per hour. And so that example is shown, and we work that example out and make the necessary velocity increases, determine those, and the orbit period, and we just use the simple square root equations.
Well, you flashed around some pretty fancy terms here for us regular people. When he talks about low Earth orbit and geostationary orbit, those are different stages in getting the satellite to be functioning. Also, the book explains about the bus and the payload and some of the terms we hear on TV every night that may not be meaningful to us. But once you pick up and look at Dr. Bob's book, these terms come right into focus. So I do recommend this. I'm sending some to my grandchildren because his 8-year-old granddaughter got something out of it. And so it is for all ages, as he says. What is your mission with this book?
Okay, I'm trying to stimulate a broad interest in engineering and science to help keep America competitive in the global economy.
Well, that is a big order.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does your book do this?
It is one of the tools I use to help address our education problems that affect our ability to compete in the global economy.
Okay, and what are our education problems as you see it?
Okay, first of all, I think most people have heard by now that we have very low ranking in the world when we compare our 15-year-old students to other developed nation students. We're only 27 out of 34 developed nations in math and 20 out of 34 in science. Now, what this causes a lot of problems, and the reasons for these are probably, mostly the social economic conditions that we have. And, but there are certain, and I can't do too much about those, but the ones I can focus on, that I'm focusing on my mission, is the shortage of interest in science and technology, and the shortage of family or adult involvement, and shortage of real-life examples of technical science projects. Now, this is all resulting in unfilled technical science jobs and decreased ability to compete in the global economy.
So what is being done to fix all these problems right now?
Probably the most important promising thing is the Integrated Learning Initiative, STEAM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics.
What exactly is STEAM?
Okay, STEAM is the sort of the replacement for STEM. The initiative STEM, which was just science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, started a few years ago. And what it is it's it's integrated learning, where in customary and traditional way of teaching students in class are to take each subject individually. Now, integrated learning means that you take and treat most of all the subjects that you have and work on project as teams in the classroom. And you do that, you set up goals and objectives that you have and so forth. Now, with STEAM, some genius thought up about, well, we really should add art to this, and that's where you can do some creative thinking. And that's the way to communicate your ideas and your imagination and put them down on paper for other people to see and discuss them and so forth. And so if you look at these 5 elements, science, that's where you discover what exists. Engineering, you create what never was. And mathematics is the tool that is used by science and engineering. And the result is technology. And so and then art gives you the creative thinking. So you put those all together, and you're working in school. You're doing projects in school with STEAM, just like we do work in the real world.
That's great. Now, I saw on your website that you had a project for children where they actually had someone call into the classroom and tell them they needed help with this space science project, and got the kids engaged in solving this problem about putting up a satellite. That is really exciting. And how did the kids do with that?
Oh, well, really great. I mean, that was a example, a hypothetical example I made up to show them, how they can work on see, in school now, and this was in the STEAM Academy that I did this, and Lyman Gilmore Middle School has a STEAM Academy with 6th graders, and they are actually following this. They're doing all their work in an integrated way, and they have certain examples they do. But my book, though, and my presentations, they give a very comprehensive, of all aspects of a program and real life, that we have.
Yeah, well, I was very, very impressed with that. And I did see the article in the Union about 6 weeks ago about the Lyman Gilmore STEAM project.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that that's working in our community, and that's what we're talking about. It's around our town. You mentioned that your book is one of your mission tools. What are some of the other tools you use?
Okay, it's the presentation to schools, social organizations, and service organizations, and then it's exhibits and demonstrations at STEM and STEAM expos. To first talk about the social organizations, I've been giving quite a few presentations to SERS branches through in this area and down in Sacramento and in the rest of Nevada County also. and then also service organizations like Rotary, for instance, given there. And the audience that I'm giving it to there is like the grandparents and the great-grandparents. And I also, so I'm reaching them, and they've been very responsive, and they're using my book, and they come away and say, this is a great thing, in order to help our country and help our young people. Now in the presentations to schools, it's to augment what is going on in the schools. Now some schools, they haven't come up to speed like Lyman Gilmore has, and I've been meeting with them, but I still been giving some presentations to them, and it's sort of getting them ready. The objective with, when I talk to the people at Lyman Gilmore, they see that they started with the sixth graders because they felt that there was less peer pressure at that time. It was a good time to introduce it in their school. But they envisioned that it would follow on with them in the 7th and 8th grades and into high school. And eventually, that's the way we'll be teaching in the future.
Now, when we talked prior to today, you also stressed with me, and you've already mentioned today, that it's really important for these young people to have an adult in their life to discuss these topics with and to kind of ping-pong thoughts and stimulate energy around this. So I imagine that's one of the reasons why you're going to these adult groups?
Yeah, well, the thing is that, in the exhibits and demonstrations that I've been giving, I have the opportunity then to meet with the parents, or the guardians or whoever is the influential member, in the child's life, in the student's life, and but I've been trying to work very hard to have more interaction with those people, with the parents and extended family members, and so I've been working on the school student presentations, which I have some lined up for next year. And then what I really want to get, though, is a joint presentation with the students and the family members and extended family members together, because they can have a big influence on the students.
Sounds like a great family project. What are some of your other current activities?
Well, that's the main ones I'm working on now, and I'd like to ask people to how they can help with my mission. I'm asking people to do me a favor and help me with this endeavor.
And how can we help you?
Okay. Well, thank you for asking that. But to become interested and curious about technology and science that affects you almost every day. Now now we have a situation in this country, and it's part of our culture and so forth. And I remember what Carl Sagan, who was a noted scientist and best-known scientist at the day, and he had a television program called Cosmos, and he said that we live in a society that is exquisitely dependent on technology and science, which very few people know anything about. This is a pure prescription for disaster. So I'm trying to overcome that and change. A very hard job I'm trying to do is sort of change our culture to get more people interested in this. And this will rub off on the students. And then also I ask you to stay involved with their education and board the STEAM train. My book is available to learn together, and it might be one of your best investments. And by the way, profits from my book will be applied to scholarships in engineering and science.
Well, I'm already on your STEAM train because you've attracted my attention, and now I've bought copies for my grandchildren, and I'm going to be talking to their parents to get them involved also. So I'm definitely on the STEAM train, and it sounds like Nevada County is getting ready to hop on as well. So I think that's pretty exciting. Now, I think you told me you're working on another book. What's coming up?
Yeah, but before I get into that, the other thing that this can do is you can amaze your friends if you learn more about this, because at the tail end of the book, when you get into it, you'll find that I even have the rocket equation. And I show you how to determine how much propellant you need to make this transfer. But anyway, now, yeah, I'm working on a fiction novel. And it has to do with that I'm projecting ahead the technology and the situation as I see it in the future, where I think we have to get ready for a satellite wars. And this is going to be a fiction novel, and it's going to have all the elements I'm trying to put together. So it will be like an action thriller almost, you know, with intrigue and espionage and all kinds of things. And trying to get the people interested in it. And it's going to be based on my projection of the technology and to prepare for those for satellite wars. And what we need to do in the future, because we're so dependent on satellites and we need them for national defense and for our well-being, that we have to be able to defend our satellites, and we have to also be able to make our, deny our adversaries of theirs, any adversaries we have. But as I mentioned before, though, we have this debris problem, and we're a possible avalanche, where if we started shooting each other's satellites down, which we have the capability, by the way, right now, and there's been tests and so forth, and Russia, China, and ourselves have killer satellite capabilities. And in fact, that reminds me that associated with this debris problem is China's last test of shooting out one of their satellites. They ended up sending thousands of pieces of debris in orbit, and in the future, they're in danger of hitting our space station. And if anybody saw the movie Gravity, and that's what happens there, that the space station and other satellites are destroyed because of other debris and space junk. And every time one piece of space junk hits another one, it breaks up into many, many more pieces, and that's what can happen to you. Okay, so we have to be prepared, as I said, to do that. But we have to do it in such a way, we have to, instead of destroying our enemy satellites, we have to just disable them. So we're going to have to use non-lethal weapons and so forth. But that takes a lot of energy and a lot of technology in order to do that. And so that's what I'm looking into for the future.
Well, that sounds like an exciting book, and I can see youngsters would like to learn about killer satellites, and the idea that we need to kill them without exploding them is a very interesting concept.
Yeah, by the way, I did my dissertation on a killer satellite.
Oh, so you're an expert in killer satellites, and maybe we'll have a lot of young experts in killer satellites after we get them to read your book and get their parents involved. Well, today I've had a graduate course in satellites and STEAM under the tutelage of Dr. Bob Welti. His book is available online in softcover, hardcover, and ebook format. Also, you can find out more and order his book on his website, which is shown below at www.satellitebasicsforeveryone.com. Many of you know him and can buy a book directly from him or email him at crobertwelty@yahoo.com. Thank you, Dr. Bob, for coming today and educating us about this. And
it's been my pleasure.
Well, we hope we'll have another sequel when your book is finished.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Summer is the time to take advantage of the waterways and trails here in Nevada County. There's so much to do, and so you can go out on the trails. Many of you may have heard about the new Black Swan Trail by the Land Trust. It's close by here, just on Mooney Flat Road. It's not strenuous, and you can pick the day and time that you want to go. Go early in hot weather. Some events that are coming up in Lake Wildwood are the clubhouse tours are going to be starting on June 24th and 25th. They'll only be 2 days. The clubhouse is starting to look pretty good for those of you that are checking in on it. The tours on June 24th will be 4 to 6 in the afternoon, and the tours on June 25th will be 10 to 12 in the morning. You'll need to call admin for a reservation for those tours. There'll be 15 people per tour. July 4th is really a special day at Lake Wildwood. There's a myriad of activities that begin, and the highlight of the day for the morning is the boat parade. So I encourage you, if you're a boat owner or your neighbor is a boat owner, to send in an application, get your boat in the parade, and then have fun figuring out how you're going to decorate it to suit the theme of Sail Away to Rio. There are cash prizes for the best decorated boat, so your effort may pay off. There's a lot of free local events going on. There's the Penn Valley Growers Market every Thursday morning at Western Gateway Park. On Saturdays at the North Star House, there's the Nevada County Growers Market with fresh farm produce. In Nevada City, there's the Farmers Market on Saturday mornings from 8:30 to 1 o'clock in Robinson Plaza. And the Grass Valley Thursday night markets go from June 23rd to July 28th. This is a wonderful community event that has not only fresh produce, but music, restaurants, and a whole lot more. There's arts, crafts, foods, and plan to go to one of these nights for sure. Nevada City Summer Nights will be only 3 nights this summer in July. They'll be held on 3 Wednesday evenings, July 13th, July 20th, and July 27th. There will also be an outdoor festival with arts and music. Nevada City's Pioneer Park has free concerts this summer. Enjoy a picnic dinner on the grass. Treat yourself with goodies for vendors. The 80-member Nevada concert band always puts on a great show and provides some surprises with each performance. All concerts are family-oriented, dog-friendly, and free. The concerts will be June 26th. The theme is Musical Safari. July 24th, the theme is Strange New Worlds. Sunday, August 28th, the theme is Last But Not Least. Another Nevada County constant is the 56th Annual Bicycle Classic, which will be held on June 19th at 1 p.m. On July 1st, the Nevada County First Friday Artwork will start, and that is a celebration of arts in the community. And participating businesses will be hosting receptions featuring artists and hosting live music. The Pioneer Arts Club of Nevada County will be featuring their exhibitions in the Nevada City Winery. July 4th festivities will be centered in Grass Valley this year, and the parade will start at 10 in the morning. Those are all the free events, so there's lots to do that won't cost a penny. Here's a few events that you will need to buy tickets for. The Pirates of Penzance, a Gilbert and Sullivan operetta by the A-Gas Theater Group, will be showing at the Center for the Arts in the off-center stage through June 17th. The tickets are $15, but on June 17th, if you dress like a pirate that night, the tickets are only $8. Sierra Stages will have the Little House of Horrors starting July 14th to August 6th. And the Music in the Mountains Summerfest at Western Gateway Park will be 12 concerts in 13 days starting June 22nd and running through July 3rd. Get your tickets now. There's a $99 value pack for 5 tickets. Music in the Mountains has not been that close to us, so for those of us here in Lake Wildwood, that's very convenient. Well, that's about it for today. We've talked about everything that's happening around town. Tune in every 2 weeks to catch up on current events. Until next time, I'd like to sign off for myself, Carol Fairfax, and our guest today, Dr. Bob Welti. Thank you.